Welcome back. This is the talk called Insight to the New World Order, Islamic Eschatology and Occult History. It's got a rather long but fairly descriptive title. The subtext is really the ancient crusade from Adam alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam's return. We had a session earlier this year, and this is meant as a follow-up to that session. Before I go further, just some logistics. You see the keluar or out or exit signs. That one actually goes to the outside, and that's the main entrance. The toilets are just as you exit the main entrance. You can see them to your left. So I think I've covered health and safety issues. This talk is brought to you by 24 Kirats and Smart Entity, and you can see the booths around you. I think we've got 4 tables filled up. Please visit the booths and contribute, as these are put up by the organizers and the speakers. Just to add some context, so this started as a closed forum, and the reason why you are here is because you are in the circle of friends, of people who the two organizers, 24 Kirats and Smart Entity, believe who are hungry for this sort of knowledge. We have the very fortune of having Dr Omar Zaid, who I think many of you may have already seen his books. I found my first recollection was actually finding Dr. Omar's book in mp4, and I was told that this is the best-selling book published by Eschatology in the country. Sheikh Imran Hosein, I think, needs no introduction. Many of you have been to many of his talks. He's extensively got his lectures in CDs and on YouTube. We are very fortunate to have Sheikh Imran around, and I think Sheikh has Malaysia as your second home currently, and we're trying to get Sheikh to officially make Malaysia his second home as a program. The 2 sessions that has been organized previously and today, it's a bit of an awareness program. I think not many of us have been exposed to the work of Dr. Omar. But more interestingly, when we put Dr. Omar and Sheikh Imran together, there seems to be a very interesting link. We have heard about Islamic eschatology, about the end of times, about the significance of Surah Al-Kahf. But when we go, how do we also interpret the other side, if you like, sometimes the symbolic side of things that allows us to see what normally others may not see. And when we came across Dr. Omar, this is where we thought the pairing became very interesting. Today will be organized as 3 sessions. Originally what we sent out was 4 sessions. We looked at 3 sessions. Dr. Omar will take the first and second session, and it's divided in general as pre-Christian era, from Adam to the coming of Isa alayhi salam, and then post-Christian era until the present day. And Sheikh Imran will then do the link this back to the subject of Islamic eschatology. At this present time, we are trying to do a full 1-day program. We are liaising with Sheikh Imran to do a full, where I believe the program has not actually been done before, is to do a full day's program on Islamic eschatology. We have read many books that Sheikh has done, and I think it will be highly beneficial for us to actually get everything tied together in one session, inshallah. So, without further ado, may I invite Dr. Omar Zaid.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I testify that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. And I wish to thank our hosts, and especially Imran Hosein, for preparing us and inviting me to come here to speak and to share what I have discovered in the fields of research about this particular topic. Now, what we're talking about today is the ancient crusade from Prophet Adam to the return of Prophet Isa. This is a long, long period of time. We're talking about 10,000, 12,000 years or more. And I certainly cannot cover that in 2 or 3 hours this morning. But I can give you a bit of a framework. Next slide, please. Okay. There we go. This is a painting done about 80 years ago by Picasso. It followed the Spanish Civil War, which was the first experiment by the Judeo-Christian Alliance in blitzkrieg warfare. It worked rather well, and this was resolved. But what I want to show you here in this painting is that Picasso knew things that I discovered. And I was surprised when I took another look at this painting, because I looked at this painting after I had done my research and after I had written my first book, my first 2 books, Trinity and Iblis. And what I discovered was that Picasso knew what he was talking about very well. If you see on the left-hand side there, you see the Cyclops, which is the symbol of Iblis. It is the symbol also of Ar-Dajjal, the one-eyed one. That's what Cyclops is. The bull was an ancient symbol used in the ancient mystery religions. Sacrificial. It was a symbol of virility, especially male virility in those particular religions. Picasso had placed them here in this painting. You see there, you have a Cyclops bull, and underneath him you have a Madonna and a child, with a dead child in the arm. This is the so-called mother of Jesus, which is part and parcel of the ancient mystery religions, which have been brought into Christianity. Picasso put it in there, and who do you have there on the ground? You have in the left hand and the right hand certain marks. On the right hand you have the cross. Now, this was not something that was identified with the Christian movement until the day of Constantine. Constantine, so-called, had this vision, and in this vision he was reported to have been told, in this sign, under this sign you will conquer. This has now become the Jesuit slogan, and it's called IHS. Under this symbol or under this sign you will conquer. And that's one of their slogans. And there it is on the right hand, and this follows the Crusader, who has a broken Crusader sword in the hand. Picasso painted this into the picture. In his left hand, if you look at the above, you see there's the pentagram. Now, Picasso had to be very careful in his day what he painted and how he painted it and what he put into the picture. Here he's got another one of the satanic symbols, the pentagram there in the left hand. This represents the left-hand path of Satan, which is the path of the elitist. This is a Satanism that is private. It is only for the initiates. In the right hand, you have a Satanism which is public. That is for the general public. And this is the various forms of religion, false religions, which are used by the left-hand path elitists to manage the public. And when the public gets out of order, they just slaughter them. You see, and when you don't manage yourself very well, if you start to buck against the system, they slaughter you because they're holding the swords, and they've got you holding the sword. So they just point you at each other, and you kill each other, you see, and not them. That's one of their ways in which they do this. And here you have, of course, this light bulb here, but what is that? That is the eye of Horus. That is the ancient sun god. The sun god of Pharaoh. Ammon, Ammon-Ra. That's what it represents. So all of this is in this particular painting, and there's much more in that painting too, but I won't go into that. So we're going to discuss these principles which Picasso put into this painting just before the Second World War, between the wars. Okay, next slide, please. So what we have here is the Catholic action. What is the Catholic action? First of all, Catholic is a word that doesn't mean Christian, but it is a word that means universal. And you have a universal religion here, a universal action, which is basically the action of a sociopath. Cain was the son of Adam, who murdered his brother. And that's what you have this painting here. This is a very good depiction of what actually took place here. A murderer murdering his innocent brother. Why did he murder him? Well, because Allah was pleased with the man who was murdered. We know that from both Al-Quran, and we know that from the whole Quran. So who are these crusaders? Well, we have here on the right-hand side some of the final crusaders. We have the word ponerocrat. Ponerocrat is a wicked leader. That's what it really means. Ponerology is the study of wicked political science. It's a new science. It's not something that has been studied systematically. It's something that should have been studied systematically by the Muslim Ummah, but Iblis has managed to get them to recycle, and recreate the wheel instead of keeping a foot of worldly events. So what we have here, the final crusaders, there's the first crusader, Cain, and we have some of the final crusaders here. It's the same stream, so I think I've done very well here. We've gone 10,000 years in just 3 slides. Not bad. You see? Now, Bush here, Bush Jr., who is this fellow in the red? This is the Pope, one of the dead ones. He was dead while he was alive, and now he's even more dead. You see? What are these people doing there? This one. This one. What are they? Are they Catholic? No. They're not Catholic. But this is the Catholic leader, a dead one. Okay? These are all Knights of Malta. And they're Protestants, members of the Protestant Christian sect, whichever one.
Here is because you are in the circle of friends, of people who, the two organizers, 24 Kairas and Smart Entity, believe who are hungry for this sort of knowledge. We have the very fortune of having Dr. Omar Zaid, who I think many of you may have already seen his books. I found, my first recollection was actually finding Dr. Omar's book in MPH, and I was, and this is meant as a follow-up to that session. Before I go further, just some logistics. You see the keluar or out or exit signs. That one actually goes to the outside, and that's the main entrance. The toilets are just as you exit the main entrance. You can see them to your left. So I think I've covered health and safety issues. Welcome back. This is the talk called Insight to the New World Order, Islamic Eschatology and Occult History. It's got a rather long but fairly descriptive title. The subtext is really the ancient crusade from Adam alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam, to Isa alayhi salam's return. We had a session earlier this year told that this is the best-selling book published by A.S. Novin in the country. Sheikh Imran Hosein, I think, needs no introduction. Many of you have been to many of his talks. He's extensively got his lectures in CDs and on YouTube. We are very fortunate to have Sheikh Imran around. And I think Sheikh has Malaysia as your second. This talk is brought to you by 24 Kirax and Smart Entity, and you can see the booths around you. I think we've got 4 tables filled up. Please visit the booths and contribute, as these are put up by the organizers and the speakers. Just to add some context, so this started as a closed forum, and the reason why you are